And good Saturday morning to everybody. It's time for the Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3. We'll start our journey through Marshall County's football coaches, starting with Andy Dorrell here in just a moment. But let's take a quick look at the scores from last night. It was CMA over Glenn by a final of 19-7. Game you heard right here on Max 98.3. Concord over Plymouth by a final of 45-14. It was Culver 44, South Central 7, LaVille 70, and Whiting 7. Tippecanoe Valley took a win over Bremen 31-7, and Triton got by North Miami by a final of 27-24. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. It's the Saturday Morning Coaches Show here on Max 98.3.
Your morning, it deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Bigby coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Bigby Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
Who doesn't like pizza, right? But have you tried the pizza at Bourbon Street Pizza lately? More fresh ingredients and a new pizza sauce recipe. It's like a slice of heaven each and every time you take a bite. And now there's 16 new style of pizzas for you to choose from on the menu. And let's not forget the mouth-watering wings or their 5 different pasta dishes to choose from. Bourbon Street Pizza with area locations in Plymouth, Culver, Argus, Walkerton, Napanee, and in Bourbon. If you're looking for a quick and delicious dinner for the entire family to enjoy, look no further than a Bourbon Street Pizza location near you.
Yeah, and we start off our Saturday morning with Andy Dorrell, head football coach at the Culver Academy. It's a really good win for you guys last night.
Yeah, it was a nice team effort. I thought our offense got out of the gate really well. We had a 20-play drive to open the game, to shoot up about 10 minutes and into the end zone. And we had one letdown on defense all night, and that was on their first play from scrimmage. So the game was quickly knotted up at 7-7. But after that, I felt like we pretty much dictated the tempo and controlled the outcome of the game.
You guys really set a tone on that first drive. You mentioned it's a 10-minute drive. I mean, that was a masterpiece, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've done in a couple of years, just to be able to control the football like that, methodically move down the field, and just really pleased the way our offensive line got off the ball and how hard our back Jalen Harris ran, and it really was a nice way to assert ourselves to start the game in our last regular season home game.
You had an awful lot of success pretty much all night with that dive play with Harris off that left side run behind your big left tackle. I thought he had a really good night too.
Yeah, no doubt. I was really proud of Jalen and how he's ran. He was a JV running back at the beginning of the season, but just keep improving, and due to some injuries was elevated and really showcased last night. I think he went for almost 150, so really excited for him and what he's going to bring to the table as we move forward in the playoffs.
How do you feel about your offensive line? It seemed like that you had a pretty solid night all the way across there.
Yeah, we had a little pressure on the quarterback at times, but overall I was really pleased with how they were determined to run the football, and we were able to do that. So it's always a work in progress. You know, as a head coach, I don't know if you're ever really pleased with your offensive line, but I got to give those guys some support and some credit for being able to move the ball the way we did and control the football.
I'll tell you, the guy that impressed me on the other side of the ball too was Kang. I thought he seemed to be in that backfield all night long.
Yeah, it's interesting in our situation without having kids here in the summer. He also was a JV player the first 2 weeks, and then just found out that we can't keep him off the field. And I think he's led us in tackles, uh, um, 6 of the 7 games that he's played. So he's just a relentless pursuer. Knows how to attack half a man and not get absorbed by blocks, and just really excited about the progress he's making as a sophomore.
Well, and the thing about it too is he's playing that linebacker spot. He looks to me to be undersized too. He looks a little bit more like a safety or a corner.
Yeah, no doubt he is undersized, and we thought we were going to play him at corner at the beginning of the year, to be honest with you. But he just has a nose for the ball, and has an ability to avoid blocks and get you know finish with tackles, and really excited about what he's a good wrestler as well. So that translates. He wrestles. I'm a big multi-sport guy, and cannot emphasize enough the importance of playing multiple sports, and that certainly translates for Andrew on the football field.
Talk about where you feel you're at. I mean, you're going into the playoffs. You're going to get to play a home game. Um, that's got to be good. But every coach says they want to be playing their best football as they get down towards the end of the year. Do you feel you're getting there, going with the right direction?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's progress every week, and we could have tackled a little better last night. We could have, protected the passer a little bit better last night. But other than that, I felt like we did a nice job of executing, and you have a high standard. If you want to be a championship team, you have to hold yourself to a high standard, and we're going to continue to work on those little things. Running through the hip and staying low on our tackles, not lunging, making sure that we're finishing blocks and we're finishing runs. And I thought our quarterback play was very efficient last night. I think Owen was 12 to 16 for 177 and a touchdown. So he also ran the ball well when he needed to. So really, the kid's starting to grow into understanding the game of football and how to put yourself in a position to be successful is what we're looking forward to continue to build upon.
That was the thing last night too. Owen was our player of the game because of, and the what I saw even more than the physical performance was his ability to lead that group. I mean, he was solid. He kept everybody where they needed to be. Never seemed to get rattled or out of control or anything like that. I mean, I thought that was a big part of his game last night.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that because, again, he's been continually improving in the last couple of weeks. And once again, a game of football is a way to challenge yourself and challenge your skills and your talents. And it sometimes puts you in adverse situations. And there was a couple times where he faced adversity and maybe didn't make the best play, but the next play is the one that we're looking for. And he did a great job all night of stepping up and making that next play to help overcome the adversity and right the ship and get us back on the moving forward.
I know that the last couple of weeks we've talked about his development too, in realizing when he should pull that thing and run it. And at Bremen, watching him play, it was obvious I'm going to throw it first, and probably I'm going to throw it no matter what. You saw that he saw plays break down, the pocket broke down, and he was not hesitating to take that thing off and run it. And he did a couple of times, kept drives alive with his feet.
Yeah, and there was even one play after the game we were talking about. He goes, I didn't realize how long I ran on that play. And I said, that's green grass. You got to take it. And we talked about that on our play action passes and take the easy yards and don't try to force things. And again, always things to improve upon. But overall, I thought that, again, he is really helping this offense um, be successful. And I'm really proud of him, one as his father, but more importantly as a coach, of how he's able to help others and share his talents to bring out the best in others.
It looked to me, and I know Joe commented on it too. I mean, coaches talk all the time about their only goal is to get better every week, and it appeared
Yep.
to us that you'd gotten better since the last time we saw you. It seemed like a lot of those younger pieces, a lot of the new pieces have got some things figured out, and that's got to give you some confidence going ahead.
Yeah, it is. You never want to look back, but I think the way we're playing right now, our record would be vastly different. It's just the nature of our program, and nature of dealing with kids who are injured or whatever the case might be. And every team faces that, but particularly in our situation, without really knowing what the kids are capable of until they get here in August and helping put the pieces in the right places. And I feel like we got what we want right now, and we're going to be able to play our best football with the best people that we can to put them in a position to be successful and really just continue to play a game these kids love. What I'm pleased about is that we got guys that enjoy being around each other. We got guys that enjoy playing football for each other, and they're committed to one another. And in the big picture, that's what high school football is about, giving young men an opportunity to put others before self and to play a game that they really enjoy and love.
Let's talk just a little bit about next week. I mean, you get to play at home, which is good. Uh, Lebanon is not a fun drive on a Friday night, I don't imagine. But it's kind of a rematch of last year. I mean, what are they pretty much the same team they were a year ago?
Yeah, it's interesting because we've had a great game against them last year and felt we were in a position to win, and we just didn't execute right at the end. And this year, it's going to be a similar game. It's going to come down to the end, and we're going to have to make some plays that are going to make them uncomfortable, but yet being able to execute those plays. They've got a really talented quarterback, two really talented running backs, and I think we match up really well across the board. Other than that, so we're going to have to create some ways to move the football and really contain their talented offensive threats.
Well, good luck
But
to
you
you
are
on
correct.
Friday.
That,
And
that,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that drive is miserable. We did it last year, and we get to, as you mentioned, play at home, and we're excited about that, and looking forward to a great matchup for the playoffs.
It's kind of funny. Last night, you guys are on fall break, and obviously your students are a little further away during fall break. You had a nice crowd out there last night. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, thanks. Our girls soccer team's in town. They're playing for the regional title or tomorrow and or today actually, excuse me. And we had a couple other, some other students on campus, but it was a good atmosphere to be part of, and I really like the way that our kids rally around and support each other. School spirit's really strong, and we had about 30 football players out the soccer game on Tuesday night or Thursday night when we hosted. So I really love the energy that our kids bring for each other and the support that they offer. And again, you always hear me say it, Rusty, but that's what makes it a great day to be an Eagle.
And it's going to be a great, even though it might rain a little bit, it's still going to be a great day to be an Eagle today. Man, thanks for taking the time. Appreciate it. And
All right,
we'll catch back up next week.
let's do it. Let's talk about an Eagle win.
That
Thanks.
sounds good. Andy Dorrell, the head coach of Culver Academy. Stay there. We will be right back.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
And we stay in Culver for the next call here with Austin Faust, the head coach of the Culver Academy, or at Culver Community, I should say. 44 points last night, man. Maybe should have told you guys to save a few for next week or something like that. I mean, that was an explosion.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, explosion is probably the right word because it was ugly to start. We got up 6-0 in the first quarter, and then just kind of defensively we kept playing really well, and offensively we just kind of kept sputtering. We put the ball on the ground a couple times, didn't lose anything, but just backed us up there and had some penalties. And then, I didn't realize this until I got into halftime, but we scored 20 points in the last 4 minutes of the second quarter.
Wow.
we took a nice drive down and had a rushing touchdown from Jonas McEwen, and then after that we onside kicked, recovered it, took another touchdown. I think Caleb McEwen might have got that one, and then we tried another onside kick, didn't get it, but forced a 4-and-out. Essentially, they went for it. Got the ball back with about like 30 some seconds left. Kind of contemplated, hey, just going in the half.
Right.
But and then our coaching staff's like, hey, let's just go for it. Let's see. We've had success on counter, so we hit a big counter play to Caleb, and then Jonas threw a touchdown pass to Caleb with no time remaining, to go up 26-0 at halftime, which was, really the kind of the backbreaker. You could kind of see it. But then, credit to South Central, they came out, took the opening kickoff, took the ball all the way down inside the 10. We kind of gave them some penalties and things, and then they threw a little rollout pass right there at the goal line, and Jonas McEwen picked it off. And I talked to Roger Griffiths. He said it was 97. I thought it was like 99, but it was. When I was talking to him, he said it was 97. So it was 97-yard touchdown for pick six to kind of proceed, get the shutout here for us, kind of thing. Our JV gave up a touchdown late, under a minute, but our varsity guys pitched a shutout, and just got a lot of contributions from everybody. Jonas ended up his senior night with like 1 or 2 rushing touchdowns, a passing touchdown, and a pick six. So pretty good night for him overall.
What did he end up throwing for? How many yards?
I don't know exactly what the exact figures, but I think he was over 150.
Wow.
Over 150. We ran the ball really well last night, though. We kept the ball on the ground. John Carr, he ran hard. He got himself his first varsity touchdown, as a sophomore. Theron Carrington, we've been working him in the backfield a little more, just with how strong and how hard he runs. He got his first touchdown on senior night. He was pretty jacked up, and then Caleb ran the ball really well for us too, as well, on our counter plays and things like that. So we probably had 3 guys between John, Jonas, and Caleb that I'd have to imagine, probably each over at least probably 70 yards rushing. So that was something we thought we were going to be able to do, is that we could run the ball in South Central. And it took us a little while to get it going, but once we got it going, it didn't stop. And defensively, I think we had 3 or 4 fumbles that we recovered. We had, again, like I said, we had that pick six by Jonas, and then even on our special teams, we I believe we had 2 or 3 onside kicks that we recovered too, as well. So it was just a good win all around for all 3 phases of our team.
It's got to make you feel good too. Defensively, you've pretty much been there all year. The time I saw you play, I thought your guys in the box, the front 8, front 7 were so active and so, I don't know. It looked like they loved to play football, and that's always fun to see in a defense.
Yeah, they do. Our D line and our linebackers have been playing really well for us. And when you play in the conference like we do in the HVAC, you got to have that. You got to be able to stop the run. And we've done, for the most part, a pretty good job. Again, once we kind of got our defense, kind of rolling a little bit, where they had a lot of confidence, and we started tackling better and not giving up big plays. And then, our DBs last night, it was going to be on them quite a bit. Just because South Central does a good job of understanding, that teams are going to try to come after them, and they get the ball out really quick. And that was the thing we talked about with our guys. Like, all right, DBs, we can't give up anything behind us. We'll rally to everything, and for the most part last night, we didn't give up any big pass plays over our head, and we didn't allow any big runs once they caught it. And that was the big thing too, as well. Like, hey, we're going to rally everything. We'll make a tackle. We'll be fine. And our kids did that. So just overall, just a a really, really good team win. I thought we could get after the quarterback maybe better than what we did, but again, that was just credit to South Central and their quarterback just getting the ball out quick, and realizing that.
Sounds like there was a lot of things to be positive about, be happy about. What did you see that maybe you're going to need to shore up?
Yeah, that first quarter, really, or first quarter and a half, just the execution part. Again, we had some fumbles where we just kind of handoff exchange type stuff. Had some missed blocking assignments offensively, and those are kind of things that we had been doing, which again it kind of stopped us from putting points on the board. So, hopefully our kids see it. That's something we're going to talk about on Monday. Is just the difference between what happens when we execute and when we don't happen, right? When we execute plays and do things that, how we're coached up to do and follow our rules on plays, we have the capability of scoring 20 points in 4 minutes. When we don't do that, and we have the capability of scoring 6 points in, 18 minutes. So that's going to be one of the things. And then defensively, just some of the mental stuff. We jumped off sides a couple times. South Central does a good job on their hard counts and stuff to try to slow you up. But, we were probably heavily penalized, or the more heavy penalized team, I guess, against South Central. But a lot of our penalties were just effort plays, where kids were just trying to get an extra block, that kind of thing. So, those are things that, again, you can live with because, we talked all week long just kind of about our mentality, what we wanted to be. We wanted to be the more physical team and things like that. And I thought our kids were, really trying to do that. And obviously when, you're playing a LaVille team and, with Coach Kaiser, the number one thing that's, we're going to talk to our kids about is you got to match their physicality. That's where, LaVille tries to win right away by just being the more physical team. So we've got to be able to match that. And, our kids did a good job last night. So hopefully we can continue doing that.
You mentioned earlier in the week too, excuse me, it'd been a while since Culver won on senior night. That's got to give your guys an emotional shot in the arm too, to get that win the last time in the regular season that they're going to be on that field.
Yeah, for sure. We've had fall break, so you had a whole week off, different practice times and things. So obviously you really focus on senior night for our guys. That hey, here's our singular focus. This is what we want to do. And our O-line coach and Coach Kling kind of left it as we walked down the field. That seniors, you've worked too hard for these 4 years to not get a win tonight, and go out there and make some memories. And why we, again, as a coaching staff, that we enjoy coaching this team so much is because you had the underclassmen, right, when things weren't kind of maybe going our way, the 6-0 and stuff. You hear different voices talking about hey, we're not losing this game for the seniors, right? We're getting this win, and then when it we kind of got rolling, it was we're not letting them score for the seniors, we're getting a shutout tonight, kind of thing. So that's one of those things when when you got guys doing it for we and not me, those are the things that make team sports special. And right now that's how our guys are, and that's what makes it enjoyable, coaching Monday through Friday with them.
I mentioned something a little bit earlier too, I think probably plays into it. Watching your guys play and having been at practice, they love to play the game. You got a lot of guys that just love to play football. And when you have that, it becomes a lot easier for everybody, coaches, everybody in that situation. Yeah,
it does. We got guys that, from our varsity wise that, again, just, like you said, love the game of football. And then that kind of is infectious. And then, our JV, which is essentially basically kind of like our freshman team, but our JV team, they're starting to get confidence, getting some victory, or getting some, good experience and things like that at the JV level. And then you start seeing them play faster in practice. You start seeing them, right, kind of chirp back a little bit at our varsity guys when they make a play in practice, and all things that kind of bring it. We got young guys that are, staying after practice because, getting sprints because, they feel like, hey, coach, I didn't do this right today. So, I'm a runner. I didn't like how I got off the ball today, things like that. So, there's a lot of good things happening, in our program. And again, we just got a great group of kids. And when you have that in your football program, good things usually happen.
I was going to say, when you got guys holding themselves accountable too, that makes your life easy.
Yeah. It's we kind of saw it today, I guess Thursday. I think in practice we Colton Falk, a freshman D lineman, O lineman for us. That's had a really good season as a freshman. Probably the best freshman that that I've been around since I've gotten the Culver. And he jumped off sides in practice, but our JV offensive line though moved first, but he jumped off sides. And our thing is in practice, if one of our guys jumps off sides, everybody's got to do push-ups. But we said they moved first, so nobody had to do push-ups. But Colton got right down, did his 10 push-ups, because he jumped. And at the beginning of the season, that wouldn't have happened. He freshman, he doesn't know any better kind of thing. And now he's doing that and holding himself accountable. And, those are the little things that, that you see and you just, you understand, all right, we're definitely going in the right direction here.
Talk about this week coming up. I mean, the good news is you get to play at home. The not as good news is that you're playing LaVille. Like you said earlier, they're gonna strap their helmets on and come after you. And what do you see when you look at them?
Yeah, obviously, had 2 years ago, right? We played LaVille when they were at conference, and then when I was at John Glenn, obviously we played LaVille every year. So, have some familiarity with Coach Kaiser there. And, he's done a great job since he's taken over at LaVille. And but the one thing that stayed constant with LaVille is probably the first words out of their mouth, right? Physical, smash mouth football. That's what they want to be about, and that's what they do, and their kids buy into it really well. We're talking about us offensively, right? Exploding for points, but I'm sure you're going to say the same thing when you talk to Coach Kaiser. You have talked already, because I think somebody told me they was up 62-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
We have their Triton film. I think that was week 1, I believe.
Yeah.
When we played Triton week 3, and if you watch them from week 1 to their last 2 ball games, where we got film last night from Coach Kaiser, they've really improved. They're a team that I'm imagine if you had all 9 games, they probably just kept improving every single week. So it's going to be a tough matchup for us. But like you said, we're at home. We hopefully can keep the momentum we had last night into this week. But we're going to have to match their physicality. We're going to have to be physical defensively, not give up any big plays, and then offensively just execute so we put points on the board. But we've done a good job since I've been here at Culver of playing our best football during playoff time. So hopefully that tradition we kind of have here stays around, and keep this thing rolling.
Well, man, I'm going to be covering that game. That's our game of the week this week, is LaVille taking on you guys down there at Culver. And so I'm sure I'll be bugging you sometime during the week to get in and do our little Facebook thing. So I guess.
All right. Hopefully bring your selfie stick with you. Right?
I figured out, man, I'm so much shorter than everybody. Looks like you're looking up my nose at times, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Alex, yeah, you're not going to have that problem with me. We'll see eye level. We'll be good there.
We are a little closer in height. We are. All right, man. Thanks for taking the time as always, and we'll talk to you this week.
All right, sounds good. See you this week, Rusty. Thank you.
Austin Fowles, head coach at Culver, and we'll take a break. We'll be right back.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, Maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
And Adam Hanley joins me, the head coach of the Plymouth Rockies. Man, I know what time you got in, so I'm glad you have some coffee and you're ready to go. But it's a long drive on a Friday night to Indianapolis, but I'm sure the experience was worth it. I mean, that's it's a once in a lifetime for your kids.
It was, and we got down there as early as we could. We stopped on the way in Grand Park and their Westfield there, and got out and got some lunch and stretched and ran the ball around a little bit and tried to break up the 3-hour drive or whatever it was, and then had the opportunity when we got there, had about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so, let the kids walk around and take pictures and try to take it all in, beforehand, and it was a good time, and so hopefully something the kids will never forget. And it wasn't. I mean, the score was pretty ugly again, but overall, I think it's the same broken record. We competed for about 3 quarters, 2.5 quarters, and when we can't compete for 4 quarters, that's the outcome in the game.
Well, especially when you're playing a team like Concord as well. I mean, they're in that elite category, I would say.
Yeah, they're a talented team, and I go back and forth if they're better than last year's team or not. And last year's team was pretty stinking good. And we were talking about on the way home with a couple of the coaches and stuff. They've just got playmakers all over. And it's not like you can say, hey, we're going to stop this kid, and we'll have a chance. It's like, well, you got to stop X, Y, Z, Q, P, and R.
Yeah.
And then, then you got to play really good offensively. Just to be in the game, and they go down and score first drive of the game, just a couple big plays, and then we get the ball. We I don't know if we got a couple first downs on our first drive or not. I can't remember. I don't have the film up or anything, but they kick a field goal. We get them stopped. They kick a long 40+ yard field goal, and we were kind of like, okay, we settled in. And then the very next drive, we go down 6-7 minute drive and score. It's 10-7 at the end of the first. And we're like, okay, we've settled in. We're feeling good. And second quarter, another couple big plays for them offensively. And then they score twice. It's 24-7. Going into halftime, and we get the ball, no panic at all. We get the ball, and we're just, hey, we got a chance. We got to get them down to score, though. If we don't score, it's going to be, get ugly fast. And our first drive coming out of halftime was just the worst drive of the game. And it couldn't come at a worse time.
Yeah.
We false start very first play of the third quarter. Second play, just a bad snap. And we fumbled the ball, and they're, they had a kicker that could put it in the end zone every time. So It was guaranteed to start at the 20. So we go backwards to the 15, fumble the ball on the 12, and they get the ball, and it's one play later they score. So instead of going down and cutting the lead to 10, now we're down, 24. So it just, before we could, get to the point of starting to get back in the game in the third quarter, we shot ourselves in the foot with a penalty, and then just a bad snap, bad handoff exchange. The ball's on the ground, and then we scored late. We scored the third quarter late and tried to cut it back in, and they just had a couple more explosive plays to kind of put it away.
I think that's the thing with them. I don't know how they do it, but they always have players like that. Every
Yeah,
year, they seem to find two new
yeah,
state champion sprinters to run and catch,
yeah,
and their quarterback
yeah,
is always the same guy, the same exact kind of guy. I mean, I don't know how they do it.
yeah. And then I think we've seen multiple different types of O lineman, D lineman this season. I mean, you fire off the ball, cut you guys, Warsaw, Mishawaka, and then you got their offensive line was humongous, and we put Owen and Ethan in there last week against Mishawaka, and they held their own and did really well against Mishawaka's O line. And we got in there last night, and I mean there were times Ethan Hall was just offensive line. Then same thing with their D line, right? I mean we've got some good maulers, we got some good 300-pounders in our offensive line, and we were struggling to move them. And I don't think it was anything game plan wise. They were extremely big, physical, strong, athletic linemen, and it wasn't easy. I mean, we had a couple nice plays, but they ended up bouncing outside, and just kind of broke. I mean, it was every yard was tough to be earned, and their coach at the end of the game told us that our number 5, which is Finn. He played a heck of a game, and he was. I don't have again stats or anything this morning yet. We didn't get anything back, but I mean, I'm sure he rushed over 100. And he was hit hard multiple times, especially getting outside. And he's still battling that shoulder injury a little bit too, right? So we weren't sure how he was going to be able to go. He was able to play the whole game for us. I'm sure he's pretty beat up and sore today. So we'll take it slow beginning of next week and make sure we get healthy for Friday.
And I was going to ask you how much you were able to get out of him because he's been nursing that injury, and but he makes a difference when he's there. I mean, it's obvious that he's a big part of the things you can do.
Well, and when he's not there, it's a lot easier to key on 6.
Yeah.
Right. I think if Ben's got 5 with him, we can do some things, and we were really successful last night with our little bash game, which is just kind of a cross motion back away from the play. We're running counter right and running outside zone left, and that gives teams fits, right? Because you're pulling to the right side. If your linebackers are reading their guards and they're following that, then you got a good seam outside. We actually had some really good success with that. Again, just one-on-one, guy in the hole, one-on-one in the safety. A couple times they slipped, missed a tackle. We got a 25-yard gain. The kid tackles us, we got a 5-yard gain. It's just the difference in the game. There's one guy that makes the play versus, not getting everything up front blocks. So he played well. Again, I'm sure he's probably really sore and struggling this morning. And, but yeah, we'll get him in the ice baths, and we'll see what the prognosis is come Monday.
Talk about your defense a little bit. I mean, how do you feel about them? It's hard to gauge, obviously not being there, but when you got a team like that, it's kind of hard to tell if you did or didn't have a good game.
Well, and I mean, it was again our changes we made defensively. Going into Mishawaka week, we knew they were going to make us better. And I think we were better. I think again the score wasn't great, and we had secondary struggle a little bit. They had some really good athletic receivers, and they beat us in just one-on-ones down the field. A couple posts, a couple over routes that they caught. We were steps slow, and probably because we got caught looking in the backfields, play action or something like that, and then we were right there, but we just didn't make the play. They threw the ball way more than I thought they would last night, and we had an interception. Metzger got an interception in the second quarter that held them from scoring right before halftime, which was huge for us. And just momentum wise, but there were a couple passes that they caught, 30, 40 yards downfield. That was just a one-on-one ball. If you got the guy that goes up and get it versus us, and And that was the difference in some of those big drives that they had. They converted a 3rd and 20 rollout. We had him covered. We rushed 4, and he rolled out of the pocket and just kind of a scramble play that converted on another 30-yard, 40-yard gain. Again, I feel like a broken record, but you take away, it wasn't like we just got absolutely manhandled. You take away 4 plays offensively, maybe even 3 offensively and 3 defensively, and it's a different ball game. And I think our margin of error in this team is just so small. We can't afford to make bad decisions or bad plays at crazy inopportune times. Like if it's 3rd and 20, we got to find a way to get off the field. We got to find a way to make a punt. We can't allow the first down. Same thing offensively. 3rd and 2, we've got to get 3 yards. We've got to get a first down. And, and if we have a false start in a drive, or we have something in a drive where it doesn't go our way and we're behind the sticks, like we've got to find a way to overcome that, and it's my job as a head coach to make that happen. But we just, our window of error is just so small, and we just don't have the ability to make mistakes. We don't have to play a perfect game, but when we make a mistake, it's got to be something we can overcome, and we can't let it kill a drive.
I got a feeling too, having watched your guys play, I get a feeling that your corners and your safeties are the kind of guys that they like to play the run. I mean, they obviously are very aggressive. They tackle well. And I got a feeling like you get a team that's throwing the ball, they're thinking run first instead of – you understand what I'm saying? You play Mishawaka, you play Warsaw. That's what you're seeing. And now all of a sudden –
the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem is we go back and forth between those offenses, right? Like they just got – I went up against a team who threw the ball 2 times all game, and then we go up against a team who threw the ball 5 times in the first drive, and I think it sounds easy. Well, it's a new week, it's a new opponent, but it's still football that the kids, it's hard, right? It's extremely hard. And all week we tell them, hey, they're going to throw the ball. This is the routes they're going to throw. This is what it looks like. This, and this. And until you see the actual speed that they have, it's impossible to simulate, and we do try to do the best we can with our scout team and things like that. But again, ultimately it's hard until you see it live.
And I think lingering in your head too, and thinking like a 16-year-old kid. People say I still think like a 16-year-old kid, but you have last night, something happens, okay, I'm supposed to do that this week. Last week I got yelled at for doing that. So, it's separating in their mind. You will get yelled at this week if you do that, because it's different, and it's drastically different.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's hard. Again, it's high school kids, and we've got probably 13 guys for 11 spots on our defense, and I don't want our defensive guys to play scared. Well, if I mess up, I'm going to get yanked, and then this other guy is going to go in, because you never want that. But we also want them to know, you've got to do your job. Otherwise, we've got somebody to replace you, and unfortunately, we've got to put the best team out there, whatever that looks like.
Well, man, you got a game coming up this week. You're at Washington, and it's one of those games that, this is maybe one you look at, we probably should win, but I mean, you got to, I guess I don't envy you in getting through to guys, when you say we should, many times the other team has something to say about it and you don't. So keeping them focused on that, I think, is going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, half the battle is them believing in their ability, right? So you have to encourage them and tell them that, you know what, you probably are the better team on paper. You've played a tougher schedule conference wise. You've played with tougher teams. You've beat tougher teams. But that doesn't always win on paper. Doesn't always win, right? I mean, so we've got to have a good week of practice. We told them when the game kind of got out of hand last night, that this next drive has got to be something that we, we've got to build on this drive to take it into next week, right? I think we got to find some things that we like, got to find some success, the things that we can do really well moving into next week. And we don't have the film back. We've got some snippets from other teams from earlier in the year. They played Goshen, so we saw how they played Goshen in week 2, and they're kind of similar to what we saw last night. I mean, they got some really good athletes. They try to spread you out. From just doing some research on our 3-hour drive home, they played New Prairie last night, and it was a high scoring affair. I think New Prairie beat them 40 something, 30 something. New Prairie ran the ball for 400 yards. New Prairie's quarterback supposedly ran for over 200 something himself. So when we see those types of things, and then how we have been playing the last couple of weeks, we're excited. Obviously, we'd like to run the ball. We've done really well running the ball. We've done really well running with Ben. So as a team, we're looking at that, and they scored 30 something points, right? They've got a quarterback that's extremely athletic. They've got a really good wideout. I think last night he had over 200 yards receiving. So it's not a surprise who they're going to try to get the ball to. So we've just got to make sure we put game plan together to be ready to play. Again, on paper, I would say, yeah, we should be the team that comes out, but that's not always what happens. So we've got to have a really good week of practice and make sure we're not, taking this team, taking advantage of this team. We got to show up and play.
I was going to say, too, one thing you can rely on with like Washington and Riley and Adams, they're always going to have athletes. They're going to have guys that are dangerous with the ball in their hands in space. And, those kind of guys can be difference makers. And like I said, in a game you should have won becomes a game you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, it's not going to come down to, well, what are they going to do? Who are they going to try to get the ball to? We know that. It's just making sure that we execute the game plan to make sure we stop. Because the difference between Concord and Washington, right? Concord's got about 3 or 4 guys that are like, hey, we don't know who's going to touch the ball. They all are explosive playmakers. Washington's probably got 1 or 2 guys that are playmakers, right? So it's making sure we execute and making sure we take care of, the main guys and make somebody else on their team touch the ball or make somebody else on their team try and beat us.
Well, man, get that team back together here for the week. Get that win on Friday, and we'll catch up.
All right, sounds like a plan, Rusty.
Adam Hanley, head football coach at Plymouth, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927. Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And we're joined by Avery Malcolm, our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week here this week from the Bremen soccer team. I got to say, did you ever imagine that kind of a week, ever?
No. I mean, last year and the year before that, I did not score. I think I've scored more goals in one game than I scored all last year. So it was I don't know, unexpected, but I'm happy.
I'm just telling you, you could leave me alone in the gym with nobody, and I don't know, in front of the goal, I don't know I could score 11 goals in several days. So I don't know how you did that in a week. I mean, what did that feel like?
I was happy. I was excited for me and my teammates. It's definitely a good feeling.
Let's talk about your teammates. I mean, you guys are having a great year.
Yeah, we are. I think we're 12-3.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. We won conference. That's exciting.
Talk about that. I mean, this has been a process for you guys. You've been playing together a long time. You got to feel good about where you're at right now.
Yeah, we've been playing together basically since preschool, but I don't think anyone from Bremen High School has won sectionals, and I think we actually have a chance this year, which is exciting as well. And I think conference, we almost lost it. I think we got it last second. I don't even think half of us knew we won until we actually had the plaque, because we lost against Glenn, but then we beat them in the tournament, which made us win conference.
Now, you had somebody new in goal the other night, too, for that, didn't you?
Yes, our goalie had a baptism for her niece, so we had to put one of our center mids in goal. So I think me and her stayed for an hour after practice the day before, and I shot on her so many times, but it was scary, definitely. But I think our defense stepped up and helped that a lot.
Yeah, she got the job done. I mean, you guys ended up winning the game.
Yeah. Our goalie came at halftime, so that was really exciting to see her come out.
I think that's really cool that she got to be there for that baptism. I mean, I think that's special.
Yeah, it was.
How do you guys feel about where you're at? I mean, what's the future? You got the tournament coming up.
I think we're happy at where we're at. Next year, I don't think we're going to be. I mean, we have 6 seniors, and they're all starters.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, it will be. But I think we have a shot at sectionals this year. I think our drawing was pretty good.
Let's talk about you a little bit. I mean, you have family members and mom and dad, your brothers and sisters. Well, how about their names?
My mom is Kristen Malcolm. It's her birthday today, actually.
Oh, really? Well, happy birthday.
And my dad's Corey Malcolm. I have a younger brother and an older sister, Reagan and Blake.
So the younger brother, does he play soccer too?
No, he plays football. But he's in middle school still.
Okay. Does he ever help you out, though, with your soccer stuff?
No, he played soccer, but he wasn't that good.
So he decided to play football.
Yeah, he switched it to football, I think, last year.
Wise guy.
Yes.
Talk about school. I mean, obviously you have a favorite subject, I hope. What would that be?
I don't know. I like math over English, preferably. I think math, I like it more because there's one right answer. In English, I feel like there can be many.
You math people, I don't know about you. You just seem to have all the answers.
I guess so.
You thought about your future? I mean, are you going to college?
I plan to, yes, but I haven't, I got accepted to IUSB, but
okay.
I haven't heard about soccer for anywhere yet.
Okay, how about what you're going to study?
I want to study criminology.
Oh, okay. Well, I hate to say it. I used to be on staff at Ancilla. They got a pretty good,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's close to home too. Okay, I'm sorry. I won't do any more sales jobs. So you do want to go into criminology?
Yes.
Well, all I can say is congratulations. Keep scoring. I mean, you have the school record for a single season, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That is our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week, Avery Malcolm. Stay there.
Your morning, it deserves more than just coffee. It deserves Big B coffee. From velvety lattes to our famous sweet foam cold brews, every sip is brewed with love, laughter, and a splash of fun. All first responders and veterans receive a free brewed coffee and 20% off their entire order. Students and teachers receive 10% off with a valid school ID. Have the best day ever by stopping in to your family favorite local coffee shop where every cup comes with a smile and every day starts brighter. Stop in today and let's make it a big day. Big B Coffee, have the best day ever, located on Columbus Drive in Plymouth.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Jeff Geiser, the head football coach at LaVille, joins me in this segment. And, man, you at one point last night were you saying, hey, guys, maybe we should save a few of these for next week? I mean, 70 points. You found something on the offensive side.
Yeah, I mean, your season prepares you to continue to excel, and you want to be firing on all cylinders, as you the eve of the playoffs. So, we felt we were capable of doing some of the things we were doing last night. And the boys put it together and made a pretty special senior night for them guys.
Well, that makes it even better because it's senior night, and they get to, that's their last regular season home game there, and they left the way I'm sure they wanted to leave.
Oh, absolutely. We talk about leaving no doubt on the field, and it's a senior class pretty special, and they're doing some good things, and we talk about the last time potentially on that field and leave your mark, and we had some guys that definitely left their mark, and a couple of our seniors have never scored a varsity touchdown, and one of them got Brad Guest got 2 touchdowns last night, and Peyton Klein, he got a touchdown. So those are guys that we normally don't see in the score column, and we definitely wanted to get those guys the opportunity to make that mark and do something that maybe they didn't think they would do in their high school career. And I know it's gonna forever be in their minds, and not only with those guys but their classmates and our fans, and those guys made that possible, and us coaches, we made our promise that we wanted to make it fun for them, and it did.
Talk about your assessment of last night, though, too, because sometimes games like this can be tough to figure out, well, did we really play that good? I mean, do you feel you played that much better?
Well, Rusty, it got off to a weird start. They showed up late. The game started later than it was supposed to, and we'd gone through our pregame, and then they're pulling in, and I didn't know if they were going to show up later and get off the bus in their gear, and then just go at it. And nope, they got off in street clothes, and Will comes out and talks to me and says, "Hey, it's going to be delayed, and we're going to try figuring it out." So it's like day gone, So it's kind of like we did a pregame twice because the rhythm of going into starting a game, you can't break that as far as the mindset of the player. So as I'm hearing that, my mind's thinking, okay, here's what we're going to have to do. I relay it to the coaches. We go in the locker room for a little bit. We retake the field, So it affected a little bit of the start for sure because senior night's always one of those nights where it's emotional for those guys, and it should be, and it's special for the families. And I kind of thought we may get off to a little slow start. You don't want that, but it's one of those things. It's the pardon rule, and with the game starting later and all that, like it just kind of piled up a little bit, and we come on defense and we're playing pretty good D, and we get a personal foul, which was very, very questionable, roughing the passer, and I still don't agree with it. So that kind of slowed us down a little bit as far as emotion, playing intense, and they had a couple of dink and dunk passes, and I called timeout and went out and. Guys, take a deep breath. Let's play. I mean, we're better than this, and then we locked in, and
We started doing what we felt we could do against that team, and we scored. I mean, and I think it was in 17 minutes we scored 62 points.
Wow.
So I mean, it's that's now. Granted, I mean, we kept the throttle on. We're going to take what you're going to give us, and we did. We executed, and we had a senior quarterback that's put a lot of work in through his career, and not only on the field but in the weight room and film studies and that, and he had 6 touchdown passes in the first half, which is tremendous. He was able to break the single game touchdown completion record, and then he broke the season record to this point. So definitely goals he had. He can check those off and kind of take a deep breath now. I know it's something he's had his mind on as he was getting himself in position to break that. So again, and he's such a class act kid. I mean, we're in the locker room after the game, and he thanked his teammates, for allowing that. And that's something that, you hope that, he comes from a strong family, and you hope the character and to pass it right on to his teammates that night was pretty special. So, we exploded. We got turnovers. We were executing. We were taking what they were giving us, and it just really snowballed for them. And we kept the throttle on for the first half for sure.
I don't know if it was you I was talking about this week, but a similar thing in that it is so hard to get guys, especially if they're more talented than who they're playing, and they're having their way. The idea that you can't turn it on and off. You've got to just turn it on and let it go until somebody pulls you off, because that's not a good mental space to be in as the season goes on of, well, I can just play hard when I need to and not worry about it. That's hard to get into a bunch of kids.
Yeah, it is. And that's always the fear. We talked a little bit about, this could be a trap game, peeking ahead. And, when you come out and you're a little flat, now don't play scared, just play football, right? We're a better team. Let's execute. And then, you got to go with that. And you want the kids to get in a rhythm and play, and you don't want to break that, right? And because they've put a lot of time in it, and we've talked about the mental aspect and executing, and so, like I said, we kind of exploded a little bit there, but we did what we were supposed to do, and what was expected, and our kids knew that. I mean, that was our mindset going in, is we want to be physical, we want to get after them, and get them uncomfortable so we can be comfortable, and then we can execute. And that's exactly what happened.
Talk about Braden a little bit too. I mean, I've seen him play, and the one thing that really impressed me was his ability to put a ball in a really tight window, no matter how long the pass was. I mean, even downfield, he could put it in some tight spaces. I feel like he's really that passing quarterback you don't see very often.
Yeah, I mean, he throws a nice ball. The game is, he's a senior, and you want to say, this and that, but the game's slowing down a little bit for him. He's seeing things a little better. First year running our offense, so hasn't been a stranger to our offense. Just the first time orchestrating it, and we keep talking and coaching him up is take what they give us, and then take a shot when it's there. Don't expect the shot. Don't expect this. If they want to keep a guy open, we have different guys that can catch the ball, and we've had many guys catch the ball this year. So, we're going to find an opening and take it. I'll take a 5-yard pass. That doesn't bother me one bit. Now, if we have 4th and 6 and it's 5-yard, I don't like that. But anyways, we'll take those 5s because those are just like a run, and there's nothing wrong with that, and we tell them, like, throw that little 3-yard pass and let your guy just take off. I mean, rack the stats. I mean, that's part of it, and so I feel like the game's slowing down a little bit for him in that aspect. He's last couple of weeks, he made some really nice decisions, and that's what you want this time of year. I mean, you can't look back. You can't peek too far ahead, but we got to continue, locking in and continue the development of finding that success and again, take what defenses give us.
Yeah, you might tell him Tom Brady didn't do too bad taking those little 5-yard dump offs too. So he had an okay career.
Yeah. And it's I mean, it is a process and it's just you build that connection, you get more confidence, and our line's been blocking better, and there's just a whole combination of things that have allowed him to excel a little more, right? Our running game's going, which now creates a little more openings for him. There's just a whole process of how can that quarterback excel and get the ball where he needs to. And you can't just rely on the pass and think guys will be open, because it's not going to happen, right? So, we've hounded the line to get the running game going to open up the passing game, and then passing game gets going. Now the running game should be open. Like there's just the blend that you have to have in this style of offense, Rusty, a month ago, we had a team meeting, and they're like, we're going to stick to what we're doing. And we struggled. We came off that field against Knox, and the mindset is, what are we going to do here? I mean, we had some big schools still going to play, and it's a tough competition. And, you rally the guys, and we just ask them to believe in what we're doing and trust the system. And we're going to continue to coach the simple things and get better. And here we are a month later, and we're playing pretty good football right now. So, hats off to my staff and the players for understanding that and buying in and trusting the system, because, this ship could have sunk pretty fast. But the kids believe in us, and we believe in them, and the culture and the coaches that we just keep pounding the fundamentals to excel and put the best product on the field on Friday nights.
Talk about your running game a little bit, because we've talked about that a lot over the year, about it needed to get going. How do you feel about where that's at?
It's continuing to improve. It's still a process, and it's going to be a process every week. And there were some games we were rushing for maybe 50 yards. And it's like, wait a minute, what are we doing here? And last fall, anytime we've had the success, we've been able to run the ball. Last night team-wise, we ran for a little over 250 yards. Which is great, and some of those were our JV guys getting some carries and carrying in the second half. But, you get up around that 200 mark, and then you have a balance of, almost 200 in passing average. Like, that's great. That's 400 yards, and you're finishing drives with points, and you're not turning the ball over. I mean, those are things. But like I said, the passing game, running game complement each other, and then we got the dual threat quarterback. Braden's been getting his legs going as well. I mean, there's just a lot of things, and senior Cole Stafford has been running really hard lately. He's found another gear. I think he's getting a little more comfortable. I think he's part of the trust process, right? Like, he was frustrated he wasn't getting the yards, and then now he's getting them, and he's trusted it, and he's, we've seen the frustration in him, but I think he's seen the frustration in all of us. Right, staff and everybody, like, we're better than this, and we're going to fix this. We're going to shore this up. And it's not, okay, let's eliminate everything we're doing. It's back to the fundamentals of your first 3 steps, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes to his first 3 steps as well. It's not just our offensive line. Like, what's your read? What's your explosion, right? I mean, there's a lot of pieces to that to make that be effective. And we're plugging some pieces together, and as you play confident, you play faster. And so we're starting to see that.
Let's go to the other side of the ball. I mean, defense has been pretty much a pretty good constant for you all year.
Yeah, I like the way we're playing defensively. We're mixing it up a bit, and guys are playing with that edge. It's nothing tricky. It's nothing different we've been doing. I mean, our system's been in place for several years now, and our younger guys are playing it. And when they get called upon to go in the game, they're playing it at a high level. I like how physical we are. I like the confidence our defense plays with. And again, we that's a big word. When you're confident, you play faster and can do some things. And we've moved some guys around. We're playing with some mixtures. And the nice thing about that is I don't think we're falling off when we're doing that. And that's a great sign. I've moved a lineman to linebacker. I've moved, some DBs around, and we've had some injuries that were kind of, not major injuries, but we're just kind of trying to band-aid those to get better here as we get into late October. And we called a couple different numbers last night to go out there and play, and they did. And that's part of the process of being successful, especially in 1A football, because you don't have the depth. And so you kind of create that inner depth within yourselves and get a little creative, right?
Yeah.
And try this and try that and take those chances. And you take those chances, and that kid you took a chance with has some success. Oh, now he's starting to play a different level, right? So, we're not afraid to take those chances, Rusty, and that's part of our success for sure.
Let's talk a little bit about the things. I mean, in a game last night, it can be hard to. There's so many good things happen. Hard to kind of pick some things out that maybe we gotta get better at that. What are the things you saw that coaches are good at seeing those things? What do you need to get better at?
Well, yeah, you're better at definitely. It's always a concern. Start of the games, right? That first quarter, the first, and I mentioned earlier some of the distractions we had. You got to put that aside. I mean, and I get it. Like I'm not saying that what's going on here and you scratch your head or whatever. I mean, it's definitely understandable on the senior night, but you cannot find that per se excuse that, well, it's because of this, right? Or, well, it's because, the team arrived late. Like, you got to overcome that. That's just things that, you can't control, but what you can control is the emotion and going out and executing when that whistle blows, right? So, you don't get those 6 minutes back that you lost, and that's the thing. And that's life, right? Like, you can't get things back that you let slip away from you. And you try teaching your players that stuff, right? Life skills and things that challenge you. And as we're in the playoffs, I mean, those 6 minutes that you may not have played could cost you the ball game, even if it's the first 6 minutes. And so, I just want to make sure our guys are locked in from the start to the finish. And again, back to the fundamentals. I mean, you can never hound those enough of are our angles right, offensively and defensively. When we're doing some things right, do we get complacent or not? That's always a fear of, we're doing good here now, we'll be okay. No, it's a hard 8 seconds, right? You got to play hard 8 seconds every single time, and then get your break. So the consistency of being able to be successful and maintain that level is always a concern, and it's never going to go away. And getting complacent. I mean, we want to be on. Our goal heading into October was to be undefeated in October, and so far we are. And if you're undefeated in October, you're going to play for hardware in November.
Yeah.
And so that's our goal. I mean, we want to get hardware. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've talked about it. We think our schedule has put us in a great position to represent and battle for that. But we got teams in the way, and I'm not going to shy away. Culver's not a bad ball team at all. Coach Faust did a nice job over there, and we haven't played them in a couple of years, and they're definitely diverse, and got to watch some film. Coach Faust got film over right away last night, which is always a blessing as you start preparing, especially when we have Saturday morning practice and we start talking to the guys. And so very appreciative of what Coach Faust does, getting that film over, and the respect, right? The mutual respect as coaches have. And, I'm excited to get going in this tournament, and I'm sure he is. I mean, they hung 44 up last night, and that's no slouch. I mean, you're doing things right, and he mixes it up so well. And I really like the way their whole line plays. They're aggressive. I mean, those guys play hard, and they always have. And, they get the best out of them, and they're gonna give us a challenge. And so, we got a really good week of practice and be ready to get after them.
I was going to say, you're on the road over there next week too. I mean, it's always better to play your own place. So that's a challenge as well.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's that's part of it though. To win championships, you got to win on the road. And we've had two nice wins on the road that assures us a little bit that we should be able to play confident when we get on that bus. And But I tell you, we're going to have a challenge. They mix it up so well, and their defense flies around, and they're riding the wave, like we are.
Yeah.
And they believe what they're doing. And at this point in the season, if you got guys that are doing that, they're going to play hard for you.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have to get some doubt in their head right away and come out and play. I mean, I'm excited for some small school football, and that's where we're at now.
You guys have had some memorable matchups over the years too. I mean, back when Coach Zahner was there and Will was coaching at your guys' play. I mean, there's been some big playoff matchups that have been some really great games.
Yeah, there have. And it's a tribute really to I think both styles. We both programs play physical, and that's been some Mo over there for Culver, and they used to play the grinded out, and we're going to run between the tackles, and it's no secret. And if I get 2 yards, that's all I want.
Yeah.
And now that they still have that mentality up front in the trenches, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they drive block very, very well. They pull a lot. They run some great misdirection, and they complement it by spreading you out. And so, they've become more diverse. And obviously, it's through the years of small school football, and they got to adjust to, personnel and maybe size of some guys and this and that. But, we've had some battles with those guys, and I expect no less come this Friday.
Well, man, I appreciate you taking the time, and you guys are our game of the week this week. We're going to be down there at Culver to call that game on Friday night, and so I'm sure I'm going to be bugging you during the week at some point.
Hey, it's all good. Anytime you bug here in late October, we're still playing football, so we'll have open arms for you, Rusty.
There you go. Thanks, Coach. Jeff Kaiser,
Thanks.
head coach at LaVille, and don't go anywhere.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest
Coach,
bank,
how are
just
ya?
the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
We're back, Saturday Morning Coaches Show, and the head coach at Bremen, Justin Magonia, joins us. And, man, it's a tough one last night, but you knew, program like Valley, it was going to be a fight.
Yeah, they're a good team, and when you play a team like that, you have to convert and be able to execute. And we made some costly mistakes last night, and a good team like that makes you pay for them.
Talk about obviously you're talking about your defense. How do you feel about them right now? I mean, that's been kind of a constant for you, and I think they've been up some points last couple of weeks. How's their mentality?
Yeah, that's true. You look at last week and not necessarily a fair assessment,
right?
Given the talent that you're playing and the points they've been putting up on everybody else. So you wash that away. Last night, I should say. A little disheartening. But on the flip side of that, the offense didn't help them. Too many turnovers, putting the defense in bad positions. So it is complementary football. And so, there's some things to clean up definitely on the defensive side from last night. I don't think it's as bad as it looks on the scoreboard. But definitely going into the playoffs, we, on both sides of the ball, we have some things to fix.
Well, talk about the offensive side then. I mean, what are you looking at that needs to get better over there?
Just to start, first time 2 weeks in a row, we have fourth down in one and can't convert. So whether it was a penalty or last night we fumbled the snap. So you can't do that against good teams. Eventually, you won't be able to do that in the playoffs against a good team that will stop you. So that's first and foremost. As a coach, I look and evaluate, and that's something that I'm going to have to implement a little bit more in our practice, and then just making decisions. I think I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now, trying to evolve and execute in the passing game. That's been kind of a constant struggle for us, and last night as well. Too many interceptions and turnovers. So we're gonna try to tighten that. Whether it's more ball control football and I guess trying to minimize the decision making and simplifying it, I guess is what I'm trying to say in the passing game.
And it's got to be tough too if you're behind and the other team kind of can guess that you're going to have to throw the football. Becomes a little bit tougher to find those plays.
Yeah, and they were there last night too at times. But you're right. Once you get down 2 scores, it's almost impossible, right, to get a play action pass behind the secondary. Their coaches are over there and they know what they're doing too. So so they're reminding the secondary every down or every if you're behind the sticks every third and long, don't let them behind you type thing. So there is that. There's some truth to that. But we had the other side too, right? Is that I'm not putting it all on my quarterback as well. Those receivers have to help him, and when they get their opportunities, we talked a little bit last night after the game. When you get your opportunities, then you have to execute, right? The execution's there, or make a play, and somebody has to make a play. And there were times again where we had opportunities to make plays early in the game. We had an opportunity to tie the game at halftime. Didn't execute that. Dropped it in the end zone. So those type of things against a good team. Now, then I made the point last night to my team. Then when you flip it on the other side of the ball, and that team you're playing against is making those plays and is executing, then those snowball on you, right? You're not making them, they're making them, and then before you know it, you're down 2 scores. And so that kind of happened late, I think it was mid to late third quarter on us.
And I think people, especially fans, kind of minimize the idea, across the field there's some smart guys, some smart coaches who spent a week trying to figure out how to take away all the things you want to do. And then when their guys are making those plays and executing, it becomes really tough.
Right. And then, and don't take away, the fact as well that those 2 teams that we've played have some dudes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they have some players. Knox, obviously, everybody knows them, but Tippy Valley has been right there as well throughout the year. And they have some really good players. They have speed in multiple positions on offense around the field. You can't. I would I venture to say one of the most, if not the most well-rounded team we've played this year. Even in throwing Knox in there, right? Well-rounded, not one individual. They've got multiple guys in positions that can hurt you, and so that puts a little bit more pressure on the defense and your focus on what you have to do to stop them. So a tribute to Coach and his players, right? Coach being able to utilize the talent that's there, and then obviously the talent that's there executing. Those guys did a good job.
I was going to say, I had a chance to see them play. It was the first game of the year. It's been a while, so they're obviously a different team than they were then. But at the same time, they remind me, as I think about it, a little bit of you guys, just a bunch of guys that, it might be somebody different making a play. Whoever has to make the play, let's find a way to make it, seemed to be their mantra. It doesn't matter who does it, just find a way to do it.
Yeah, and they got multiple guys and moving them around, playing multiple positions, whether they're out at receiver or at the wing back, and the same thing you said, right? Rotating them in and out. You can't really get a fix and say, all right, well, number one is in this spot, which number one's a really good player as well, but like when he's in this spot, they're doing this, not necessarily with them, right? So they, and then they'll also use those guys to counter you. Getting them in motion one way and then coming back misdirection with somebody else the other way. So they do a really good job of mixing that up, trying to break tendencies and keep your defense on their toes. Tip your hat off to them. They did a good job. And then the same thing, like I was saying, I thought, their positions everywhere are pretty solid. Like they got the big guys up front. They've got, skilled kids running the ball or out at receiver. The quarterback does a nice job. I mean, there's not really one deficiency that we could see or point at on the offensive side of the ball.
Let's spend some time talking about your guys because this is a big week. Playoffs start. I get the feeling that you're not worried about how they're going to respond. The times I've been around you guys, you got a bunch that it just seems to me that they don't rattle. It's not like, let's circle the wagons here. We've had a couple of weeks in a row, but I get the feeling it's just going to be back to work and let's go get one this week.
Yeah, for sure. And then, we need to kind of, right, this week's going to be about us. We don't have time to sit back and really look back or feel sorry for ourselves for last Friday. The playoffs are here now, and that's what we talk about, right? Playing for the right for another week of football, and that's what this Friday is. And and I know they all will. So I started off Friday night after we got back into the locker room, and I just told them the score of the Louisville game. I was like, I know you guys are all going to get on your phones and you're going to look, and of course I don't want that to happen, right? Because I don't want false sense of security there, but it is what it is. And so I said, all right, well, here we go then. There's your measuring stick. We beat Louisville. What are you going to do this Friday? It's a clear, in some aspects, right? I'm sure there's some things once I see it that, where, they maybe opportunities present themselves or things kind of snowballed on Whiting during that game where Louisville was able to jump on them multiple times or, I know they scored quick. So I haven't seen the film yet, but, in some aspects, now does it have to be 70? No, but, the measuring stick's there, right? And so we got two teams. We got a team that we've played and a common team that we're going to play this Friday. Louisville surely improved, have we, right? Yeah. So the challenge is presented in front of them, and then, now we're going to have to go work to get it and see challenge the kids and see how they respond.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time as always, and we'll catch up with you during the week.
All right, thanks. I appreciate it.
That is Justin Begunia, the head coach at Bremen. And stay there. We'll be right back.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
Well, that commercial wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, and Andy Parker joins us here, head coach at Triton. I have a feeling it's going to be a little better conversation than we've had the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure. boys played extremely well last night.
Talk about that a little bit too, because this is kind of a, I don't want to call it a statement game because it's not at that level, but I mean, this is a team that beat you guys in the sectional final last year. They're going to probably be a sectional opponent at some point. How big was it to get this win, during the regular season?
Pretty big, really. I mean, it started with senior night, right? So we got 12 guys that we were trying to send off in the right fashion, and so yeah, it was big. Obviously, they were motivated given last year's situation. We lost them at the end of the regular season, turned around and lost them in the sectional championship. So yeah, a little bit of a revenge type of scenario, and I absolutely played that up this week. So yeah, the boys came out and played hard.
You got out on them early. We were watching the score at our game, and then they did not go away. Clearly, I mean, was there any moments there where you're thinking, when is this going to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the first half, we did really well, both offensively and defensively. Last night was kind of a game of bending and not breaking on the defensive side. I mean, we even Preston Brookins stripped a kid. I don't know. He was down inside the 10-yard line, and he took it all the way back to the house. And it was cool because there was this convoy of seniors that were blocking for him. And so, that was a pretty neat moment. It started us off. And then we were able to score a couple of times, including a 2-minute type of offensive scenario where we drove down and scored. And so at halftime, we were up 20-0. And my message to the boys was, this team's way too good to go away.
Yeah.
We can't mess around with them in the second half. And we started with the game with the ball, so we kicked off in the second half. They drove down and scored. And then they kicked an onside kick that, not that we weren't ready for. Colton Reynolds is actually the one they kicked it at, but unfortunately he just didn't have any support, and they were able to get him and ultimately then get the ball. And so then they drove down and scored again. So boom, they've got 2 scores right away. We haven't even touched the ball yet. And so, yeah, they came out hard. You could feel that they had the momentum, and you could see in our boys' eyes, well, what are we going to do now? And so I got on them a little bit and just said, fellas, we're fine. We're a better team. We just have to get our game back on track. And we were able to do that. Eventually, we got the ball in the third quarter, and Jaden was able to take it 80-plus yards to the house. And not that was the dagger, because it certainly wasn't. But I think they knew that they were going to struggle to stop us. And then that fourth quarter we came in, and I know you didn't get to see it, but we ran Wildcat at the end with Jaden at QB. And I think we went on a 7.5-minute drive, and they couldn't stop us. And we could have punched it in and didn't. That's why the score ended up the way it was. But we wanted to run the clock out, and boys did a great job doing that. We had 2 drives that one was 17 plays, 8.5 minutes. And then that last drive was 7.5 minutes. It was funny. I was talking to staff when it was all over, and I said, we kind of used the triple options game plan against them.
Yeah.
Because, those guys are 4 yards in a cloud of dust, and they're happy with 3 possessions and a half.
Yeah.
And so that's ultimately what we ended up doing. We ended up making it a 3-quarter game, as they call it. And I think we had 26 minutes of possession. So, yeah.
That's not bad.
No, not bad. And then you know how it is. It's the numbers inside the numbers.
Right.
We took the ball away from them 3 times. They got it from us once, and the ultimate difference was Preston's touchdown at the beginning of the game was the difference in the score.
Talk about where you're at right now. I mean, I've asked you this question before this year, but you're 6-3. And you knew coming in, you had some athletes, you had some guys that could do some things. I mean, are you where you thought you'd be? Are you where you want to be?
I would say close. we had a disappointing loss to North Jetson and then a very disappointing loss to Pioneer. The first one at the beginning of the year to LaVille, that was on me completely. I didn't have us prepared correctly for that game. And, I think the seniors would love to be sitting undefeated right now. But process wise, I would say we're where we need to be. We were able to bounce back from that 42-0 loss. And that was the biggest part of the whole deal. How are we going to respond to the event? And I'd say they responded very well. And then having North Miami come out in that second half and kind of punch us in the mouth, and then we were able to respond to that. That was the biggest takeaway for me for the game, was our ability to respond after a couple of rough items, with the onside kick, and then we had to punt the ball, and Jaden ended up punting it, and it hit the back of one of our players and kind of shot straight up. And so, it got a little rough. So our response was the big thing. But as it relates to where we're sitting, it feels good. We're healthy overall, and for a 1A group as small as we are, that's as big a deal as any, especially going into this second half of the year.
Talk about the fact. I mean, I'm hearing from all the coaches. I mean, we want to be playing our best ball at the end of the year. That's a mantra every year that you hear at this point in the year. Do you feel like you're playing your best ball right now?
I would say we are darn close. I don't, and I would tell the boys the same thing. I still don't think we've gotten to our ceiling. I think there's still a ton of potential left to reach, which is exciting.
Yeah.
Because, when you look at our trip here potentially through the playoffs, it'll build each week, and rightfully so. And as long as we keep building and trying to reach the potential that I think we all know that we have, we're setting up to play really well.
Talk about things you saw last night that kind of maybe concern you a little bit. I mean, what is going to be your emphasis in practice this week?
Well, defensively, it's stopping the run. I mean, they went over 300 yards on us, and we bend and didn't break, but it was just a couple of tactical issues. It wasn't even, they're a veer team, and I don't know if they had 10 yards running the veer. So mission accomplished there, because we spent so much time this week working on that. But there were a couple other little plays that we had certainly practiced against, but for whatever reason, we were struggling to fill those gaps. And so defensively, that will be very much our emphasis this next week. Offensively, Gage Riffle had one of the best nights at quarterback I've ever been a part of. He was 7 for 10, and quite honestly, the 3 that were not completed hit him right in the hands. So, I mean, it could have been a 10 for 10 night with, who knows, 150, 200 yards and 2 touchdowns that just didn't come to be. He made some plays that just were amazing. At one point in time, it's funny, on TTSN, they said, Barker had a great call on this play. Gage ultimately he saw that the defense wasn't set very well, and he went up under center and snuck it for a first down. That was not the play call I had, but he made me look very good. So well done, Gage. But it's just, he had such a great night, and building on that is a big deal. We've had the Wildcat for a while, and I was questioning whether we should bring it out because Gage was playing so well, but there's the strategic part of it too. I wanted other teams to have to prep for something else, right? Look, and so I had no idea that last drive would be our last drive of 7.5 minutes with Jaden running it the way he did. So offensively, it's some small execution pieces that if we could just get those down, we would be super deadly on offense.
You know, I'm not going to call him the forgotten man, but Gage Ripple's been kind of in the shadow of Jaden. I mean, he's having a great year too.
Yeah, he really is. And I mean, being a two-sport athlete and just being able to handle some pressure situations is a really big deal. And maybe not even that as much as because he's such a great athlete, he's able to see things out there that as the offensive coordinator and his position coach, we talk about it every day. And he knows he's got a lot of freedom. And I tell him every week, buddy, if you see something, go for it. I'm not going to yell at you. And I said, now, if, we get a couple that go sideways and you've called your own, well, then we got to kind of reel that back in. But until then, man, go for it. And he's done it a few times. It's funny. I was joking with Coach Overmeyer. I called a rollout pass the wrong direction, and he went in for a touchdown. I'm like, it's pretty good when you can mess up and still score touchdowns. So, it's just plays like that truly is. He's very special. And when it comes to my offense specifically, it can get pretty intricate at times. And sometimes there's no way to make them not wordy plays. And man, he's able to call them all out and know exactly where everybody needs to go. And he's so critical to our operation. You can't speak highly enough about him.
I was going to say, though, the Bremen game I go back to because, my partner, Joe, he's like, he was impressed with when you needed a score, it was obvious he wanted the ball. He wanted the game on his shoulders. And that's rare. And especially somebody who can actually do it and make it happen. I mean, that first score, he basically just willed that.
Yeah, it was a testament to his character when it comes to how competitive he truly is. And so, yeah, at times you can see that when he's locked in and he's in the zone, it's special and it's different. And I think you got to attribute that to his basketball career, right? I mean, he's an amazing basketball athlete, and same deal on the floor. When you got one shot left, I mean, he wants the ball, and you love a kid like that because you're right, they are rare these days. In fact, I talk to my own son about it often. Like it's okay to want that pressure. That's a good kind of stress. And ultimately it makes you a better human being, hopefully, right?
Yeah. Well, and and there's guys like that I've played with over the years. I remember Scott Skiles was that way, but it wasn't an arrogant thing with him. It wasn't like he was saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't do it. I just know I'm going to. You get what I'm saying there, and that becomes a thing that even your teammates are like, we're behind you, dude.
Well, Scotty had so much time on target, right? Like, same deal with Gage being in that. He's still going into the gym and shooting after all of our practices. So I mean, he's just, Scott Skiles going in the morning and shooting free throws at lunch, where everybody else is just talking and messing around. Well, this Gage Riffle has that same kind of mentality where it's just he's extremely driven, and that's a good thing for him and for us.
Let's talk about this week. I wonder how you're gonna. I would think that in your seat mentally, this week is a big week because you got one of those, and I just talked with another coach about this. You're looking at it, and it's a we oughta on paper, but a lot of times the we oughta become how did that happen, and we didn't. So talk about Southern Wells and talk about how you're going to approach the week.
Yeah, we're in a zone for me that I don't know as much. I joined the team last year about this time, and so I was part of our Southern Wells game last year, and they're a team that's struggling a little bit right now. But you're right. I mean, you can't overlook anybody because at any given week now you're done, and especially for our 12 seniors, like it's win or go home kind of thing. And I know they're going to be driven. I think that piece in and of itself, and in talking to my seniors the last couple of weeks, I pulled each of them out and interviewed them separately. And, they seem more locked in than other senior classes that I've dealt with as it relates to finishing the year the way they want to finish the year.
And so, us this week is very much back to the internal process of getting better at your job and being able to trust the guy next to you to do his job, and kind of a back to the basics sort of thing. We even tackling this last week, we went back to almost week one, step-by-step tackling, just to refresh and reiterate the importance of the fundamentals. And we'll do that offensively as well with the blocking. It's so cliche to talk about blocking and tackling, but that's what it is. And those that do it the best, they do really well.
Well, man, have a good week of practice. Get that W, and we'll catch up with you during the week.
All right, buddy. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Andy Barker, the head coach at Triton, and we'll be right back.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
We're back. Ron Braun joins us, the head coach at John Glenn. And that was a tough one last night. It just, a couple of things go a different way, but it seems like we've had this conversation before over the course of this year.
Yeah, definitely. Kids battled, but, again, failed to execute. I can't fault the younger kids that are stepping up and filling in for people that we don't have currently. But that's what happens when you get injuries. And they battled. They tried to execute their plays, and CMA was better last night.
And I know you don't talk about this very often, but because you're not looking for any excuses or anything like that. But I don't know how you get any continuity. You got 17 guys that I gotta believe that a vast majority of them would have, if they were in uniform last night, would have seen snaps. That's got to be tough on everybody.
Well, definitely. The key to having a good offense is continuity.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about the offensive line. And, our line coach, Kevin Schmigowski, he's been working with those guys all year. And from the beginning of the season, we've moved everyone around every position because, we've had to and try to put the kids in the best position. But, injuries force you to do things that you don't want to do. And, it's hard to get that continuity. It's hard to get that communication with the guy next to you when they're changing every other week.
And I think of the relationship they always talk in pro games about, this quarterback has a rapport with this receiver or whatever. It's got to be tough to get any continuity, even with your skill players, when they're changing all the time.
Yeah, timing's a big deal. And, we've been fortunate with our skill positions where they've went down and it hasn't been a season-ending injury, but It's been a few weeks till we got them back. But, on the line, I think the only person, really that's been there the whole year is our center. And so, and he even didn't start at center. So, we had to switch him around for what we wanted to do because we had some injuries. And, again, it is what it is. You're going to coach the kids that you have at the positions and you're going to try your best. And I believe that they're trying their best. And, sometimes the competition, they just flat out beat you. And,
no excuses there. That's what happens. That's why we play these games, to see where you're at, to see how you've improved, and to gauge yourself against other people other than those that you're practicing against.
You talk about. I thought you were going to lose somebody else again last night. Aiden Smigelski went down twice and still came back out. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, what a warrior. He's not going to stay out of there. He's going to keep coming back no matter how many times he gets knocked down.
Yeah, absolutely. You have kids like Aiden who they do what they're supposed to do on the football field. They watch film. They do the right things. And, unfortunately, because it's a team game, you don't always get rewarded for all the things that you're supposed to do. And definitely hard to keep him out of the game. And I'm glad that he was all right. But, when you're playing middle linebacker and banging every play, and then you're on the offensive line, and the defense is trying to prevent you from doing what you want to do there, you're going to get a lot of contact throughout the game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the two positions. You're literally going to get hit on every play, and that's got to take a toll by the end of the night.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Talk about your offense. I thought Goodsell had a nice night running the football. You were able to find some things in that running game early.
I mean, I think anytime you're looking at offense, it's hard for kids and people to understand that not every play is going to hit. You need to see what the defense is doing so that you can call your next play. And Goodsell was getting some yards, and we were able to look at what shades they were in and call some plays. And then it comes down to again, executing, making the right reads, blocking on the perimeter. And if you're not doing all those things, then the plays that you call, they aren't going to go. You gotta run the right routes. You get precision routes, not kind of run the right routes, but you gotta really run the routes so that it pulls the defense in a particular way to open up another route. It all works together, and that's the cool thing about football. When it all works together, it looks beautiful. When it doesn't, you get more than two people not doing the right thing, and sometimes even one, it blows the whole play up.
Yeah. Well, and I was happy to get a chance to see Archer play for the first time last night too. I mean, he's just a sophomore. He's going to be a really dynamic player, but it's clear too, watching that he is the underlined and highlighted name on the scouting report, because they seem to have at least two or three guys that really wanted to know where he was every time the ball got snapped.
Yeah, absolutely. The runs and alleys that were there earlier in the season, they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Everyone's scouting Archer. They know that. They're probably spying him on the defenses of that, and it tells. And luckily for him, he's really fast, and he's got a cannon for an arm, so he's able to evade, and he's able to still get yards. But that's always difficult, and to make that adjustment to teams totally keen on you, other people have to execute so that it takes that pressure off.
Yeah, I that touchdown run he had on the first play of the game, the thing that I looked at Joe, my partner there, and I said, we expected him to be fast, but not that fast. I mean, he literally ran away from some guys who had some pretty good angles.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, Archer's got great speed. He's definitely a competitor. He really, really wants to win. Being a sophomore, trying to lead, because when you're the quarterback, you're the leader. It is just what it is.
Yeah.
And so that's a difficult role and a difficult position for him to get thrust into. We played a little defense last night because he's got a high IQ, and again, asking a lot from a sophomore, and the majority of the time he delivers.
Let's talk about this week coming up. I mean, you've got opening round of the playoffs. You got to go on the road to Calumet. How are you going to approach this? I mean, because, this is a game that it's a winnable game. but you got to keep them focused on the task at hand. I mean, what's your message going to be this week?
Message is just going to be, do your job.
Yeah.
Trust your teammates. Calumet's digging fast, and so they run a nice power game. I mean, surprise, surprise, with Salary as your coach, and what he did over at Laporte. I'm not shocked that his offense looks the way it does, and so you have to be fundamentally sound. You have to fill the gaps, and you have to take good angles and tackle well, or you're going to get ran away with.
How do you feel about your guys where you're at right now? I mean, you moving in the direction you want to move?
I mean, at this point, you're dealing with the cards that you've been dealt.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that you can do when a kid gets hurt. There's nothing that you can do when you have the injuries happen, and so you have to ask someone else to step up, and then you got to coach them up. And so, again, hats off to the younger kids that have stepped up and done that. Our older kids that are playing through some, injuries that aren't as significant. There's still injuries. They're still not 100%. When you start football season, normally you're not going to be 100% once the season starts. You're always going to have bumps and bruises, and you gotta be able to manage it. So, you always want to do better. You always think you could have gotten another game here, another game there, and that's true across the board. But if you don't get across the finish line, it doesn't count, and nobody cares. And so that's what you got to stress to the kids, that you got to go back, you got to have effort, you got to do the fundamental things right. I thought last night we did a lot better job of reading our keys on defense. We struggled to stop them getting off the field on early possessions, but we read our keys. We came up. We had a lot more guys to the ball, so I was happy with that. We're going to need a lot more of that this week, and the big thing is every team in the state of Indiana, they get into the playoffs. You don't have to win X amount of games. Everyone gets their golden little ticket to get to the playoffs, and so what are you going to do with it? Are you going to take that? You're going to take that opportunity to try to redeem yourself and go as far as you can in the playoffs? Or are you not going to take that opportunity, and are you not going to be focused and just squander it? And so that's your two choices. And at the end of Friday night next week, half of the teams in the state of Indiana will be done and half won't. So we'll go from 310 to 155. And do you want to be in the 155, or do you want to be on the other side of the 155 that's handing all their stuff in on Monday? I'm hoping that we choose, and then we have the opportunity to be on the other side and play another week, especially for these seniors that have, put in all this work.
Well, man, good luck to you on Friday. Get that win, and we'll catch up during the week.
All right, thanks so much.
Ron Brown, the head coach at John Glenn, and we'll be right back.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
And it's time to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week, given in honor of longtime Marshall County and Max 98.3 broadcaster, died suddenly a year ago. His legacy, obviously, he absolutely was dedicated to his craft, worked beyond anybody I've ever seen, and his devotion to the athletes and coaches in this area is just it'll never be matched. It's a legacy that we try to honor with this award every week, and we'll tell you who this winner is this week right after a word from Johnson Danielson Funeral Home.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week this week is Braden Schwitz from LaVille, quarterback for the Lancers. If you're listening a little earlier when we talked with Jeff Kaiser, had 6 first-half touchdown passes, set the school record for touchdown passes in a game and in a season last night. And so Braden Schwitz is our Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. He'll receive a certificate, a history of the award, and a T-shirt commemorating this achievement. He'll also be a future guest on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. And Braden will be eligible for our Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Year Award. That's going to be given out later this spring. That has a plaque and a college scholarship that goes with it. Compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. That's the Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week, which is brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home of Plymouth. That's going to do it for another edition of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. We'll be back here next week doing the same thing. Don't forget, football week starts here on Max 98.3 every Thursday night. 7 o'clock, we go around the county. We talk to all the area football coaches about their matchups on Friday. So it'll be our first round of the playoffs edition coming up Thursday night. Thursday Night Lights at 7. And then Friday night, our game of the week, we will be at Culver. And it will be round 1 of IHSAA playoff action. Culver Cavs take on the LaVille Lancers. 6:30 will be our pregame start. 7 o'clock, the kickoff from Culver. It's Culver versus LaVille, the Max 98.3 game of the week. That's going to do it. Thanks for listening. Have yourselves a great weekend.